Gospel of Luke, we see that women have a pivotal role to play in the ministry of Jesus. Women are the first to know of the coming Messiah. They are the last to remain at his side on the cross and are the first to witness the resurrected Christ. And yet, with a few exceptions like Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Mary Magdalene, most of the women are unnamed, and their roles in Jesus' ministry is often minimized and forgotten. Women from communities of color unfortunately share kinship with these women because they too are often unnamed. Their contributions too are often ignored and forgotten. As we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment that gave women the right to vote, we hear a lot about Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, while ignoring the important contributions of Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, and Ida B. Wells. As we celebrate the 55th anniversary of the landmark Voting Rights Act of 1965, we are right to applaud the contributions of Martin Luther King Jr. and John Lewis, but we forget about the roles that Fannie Lou Hamer and Dorothy Heights played. As we cry out for justice for George Floyd, Freddie Gray, and Michael Brown, we barely shed a tear for Breonna Taylor, Sandra Brown, and Corinne Gaines. Women of color are too often forgotten in the struggle for social justice, and pivotal in that struggle is making sure we continue to maintain our right to vote. Communities of color can see their access to the ballot slipping away as several states enact their voter identification measures, redraw district lines, and cut funding for early voting. In the state of Maryland, the drastic reduction in the number of polling places and the surge of election judges can potentially dilute the voting power in these communities. What can we do to help? As the most loyal bloc of voters of any racial ethnic group, Black women can and will once again mobilize and galvanize their communities to make sure we do not lose our rights to vote. At the beloved Community Church in Accokeek, Maryland, we make sure that our community knows the local election dates and deadlines. We encourage 100% voter registration for eligible voters. We have people double check their voter registration status, and we provide information and education about voting early, mail-in voting, and volunteering at the polls. We urge community members to push our local legislators to provide more polling sites and select more election judges. And we let them know, whether they know our names or not, we are watching them and we are holding them accountable. So, beloved, get out and vote and galvanize others to vote, whether by mail or in person. Get out and vote, whether you drop it in a mailing slot or stand in a long line. And when you are casting your ballot, don't forget the women of color who made the sacrifices that they did so that you would have the right to exercise your right to vote. Don't forget the Charlotte Van Deen Fortons and the Charlotte Fortin Grimkes. Don't forget the Gwendolyn Simmons and the Diane Nashes. As you cast your vote, don't forget to say her name. Say her name.